Welcome back to Sonia Space, the show where we explore the mindset, habits, and stories that help you become the best version of yourself. On this show, we sit down with inspiring guests to unpack what it really takes to grow, evolve, and live with purpose. I'm your host, Sonia, and today we're talking about a topic that's absolutely essential for anyone creating content online: blogging and SEO. And to help us unpack that, I'm thrilled to welcome today's guest, Sloboth, a blog writer and SEO strategist for creative entrepreneurs. She creates a custom blog strategy for each client that combines personality and SEO to grow their website and attract the right leads. Eden has written blogs for over 30 industries, believing every business can benefit from a blog strategy. As a podcaster and content creator, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. Thanks for joining, Eden. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing great. So, let's start off with you introducing yourself. How did you get into blogging? What first motivated you into blogging?
Well, I actually kind of started as a virtual assistant offering all things under the sun related to marketing. And obviously, one of those things was blogging. But in addition to that, I was doing social media, email marketing, website updates, general like admin work. And I kind of realized over time that blogging was something I was most passionate about and something that a lot of clients really wanted me to do for them. They were like, "I don't have time to do that, but I know it's valuable. I just don't understand like the SEO side and I need someone to handle that for me." So I niched down my business about 2 years ago to only offer blog writing and SEO.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I feel like even now I still definitely read blogs, especially travel blogging. I don't know if you do any of that or involved in any of that, but it's great to just have that information out there. So, in this day and age, we obviously have TikTok and Instagram Reels, right? And everything is visual. And there's obviously videos out there to provide contents. In this day and age, where we have this kind of information, like how do you attract and retain readers?
I look at it like people like to consume content in different ways.
Okay.
So your listeners like to listen via audio. Some people like to read, some people like to watch. So I think it's just about attracting those different people who like to consume content in different ways. And you
Yeah.
can actually combine the strategies. Recently, Google announced that Instagram Reels are going to be indexed on Google now. So it's actually a really good strategy to embed Instagram posts and Instagram Reels into your blog posts. So you can kind of like combine. You can also embed like the audio clips from podcasts. So it's mostly just like combining all the media strategies to help people consume content in whatever way that they prefer.
Yeah, I actually did hear about that new feature with Google, and that's awesome for us content creators. For someone that's listening in and that's interested in blogging, just want to hear your backstory. How did you first find your customers, right, or clients in the blogging space since you're kind of doing your own thing?
I don't actually remember how I got my first blogging client,
Mhm.
but it's something that kind of snowballed. Like I started to offer blog writing and then one client wanted it and the next client wanted it and they referred me to someone else who wanted it. So it kind of just like spiraled and now I have I think 8 clients that are all only blog writing. So originally, like I said with the virtual assistant, it was kind of just like, "So you're doing social media, can you just write a blog for me?" But now it's like I only want blog writing from you, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And it's something that you enjoy doing. And how long have you been doing this for?
I started originally in 2020 during COVID because I was bored.
Yeah.
And I niched my business in early 2024. So been doing like the blog writing and SEO side for about 2 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since you just mentioned SEO, so I didn't know about SEO. So, like, the corporate job that I had is very different. And then this content creation space are completely different territories. I didn't even know what it stood for. I kept seeing it, but I'm like, I don't know what it means. But now I obviously know what SEO is. And it's a very good tool, an important tool for content creators to use to attract customers. So, can you define SEO and the importance of SEO and content creation in general?
The very basics of it is it's your goal to rank on Google search results. So when you type in a search query like best chocolate chip cookies or whatever, you want your content to show up on page one and get those clicks. So it's driving that organic traffic to your website where maybe they've never heard of you before, they've never followed you on Instagram, they've never seen your face or read your content before, but because you are targeting that query that they searched, they are going to now find your content. So it's a way to reach new people in your audience completely organically with no need for paid ads or anything like that.
Yeah, so I use this tool. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called like IQ. It's really for like YouTube users. And basically, I'll just put in the title that I'm thinking of for my YouTube video, right? For my podcast title. And then it'll let me know like which percentage of people would be attracted to this title or like certain keywords. I don't know what kind of SEO tools bloggers use, but do you have any like specific platforms or tools, the names of those tools that you use for SEO analytics?
One that I use for keyword research a lot, so trying to find, like, those good words that people are searching and, searching a lot and are not very competitive. I use Ubersuggest for that mostly to try to just find those keywords, and I can use that to build my blog topics and headlines and the rest of the content really. I also like to use Google Search Console, and that is a completely free tool. It just gives you a good baseline of like where your website's at from a search perspective, and all that data is coming directly from Google, so it's pretty accurate. So I like to use kind of a combination of both those tools. Uber suggests mostly from the like research perspective, and then Search Console to analyze my blogs and kind of like how well they're doing or where I could improve.
I was just about to ask you if that first one that you mentioned is free, but most of them are not. But it's great that we have that Google feature to provide the free SEO analytics for people. I honestly didn't even know about that. So I'll definitely take a look at it. Do you think it's something that, podcasters can use as well as just for like all types of content creators?
For sure, any type of business owner. They do have a free version. It's pretty limited in, like, how many searches you can do, but if you're only
Okay.
doing it for your own website, like, it'll probably work. I'm doing it for my own plus those 8 other clients, so I have a paid version, but what's nice about Uber Suggest is you can opt to do a monthly payment or you can do a lifetime payment, so just pay one time and you have it forever. So I
Oh,
did that when I started my new business in 2024. So,
good.
I personally think the lifetime membership is worth it.
Okay. And then how did you find out about SEO? I'm assuming it's just from the roles that you were in previously. Like, how did you even find out about the concept of SEO and the importance of SEO?
I kind of was winging it with those, like, very first clients, so
Yeah.
sorry to them, but I also didn't know anything about SEO. I was like, "That sounds hard, that sounds technical, and I'm not technical, so I'm just gonna do my best." But then I was referred to a client who specializes in SEO, and she wanted me to work on their podcast show notes for them, actually. I was doing, like, or I still am actually, doing long form podcast show notes that are kind of similar to blogs, but tie into their podcast episodes.
Yeah.
And she was like, for me to feel comfortable with this, I'd like you to just like go through our SEO course and membership and we can do kind of like a trade. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I can learn SEO and offer that to other clients. That sounds great. And it taught me way more than I could ever have imagined. I still recommend it for everyone who wants to learn anything about SEO. She breaks it down like super simple. It's super easy for even the non-technical sides of us. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's SEO on Tap from Duo Collective.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. For me, I found out through a podcast auditing meeting and I was like, "Oh, wow." Because again, it gets very technical, especially when you go into the content creation space. The things that you have to learn and pick up on, it's just uncharted territory. SEO is a great tool to use for content creation and attracting, customers, your audience. What are some other ways that you grow your audience in the blogging industry?
I use similar strategies to other business owners. I try my best to be active on social media. It's just not my favorite thing, but I try. And I send a weekly email to my email list, and that also includes blog, my weekly blog in there too. So like I am sharing my blog to multiple different audiences on social media, my email list, like partnership opportunities. They'll share my content and stuff. And I think just being able to repurpose and cross promote across different channels is a really good strategy to help you get the word out there about your blogs. Obviously, telling friends and family is great, but you want to reach like the people who actually might want to work with you at some point. So
Yeah.
That's kind of what I have been doing.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point because I didn't know this, but I realized this later because I've been podcasting for 2 years now, that there's podcasters out there as well that send out weekly newsletters. I'm so focused on, okay, social media aspect of it, and then, of course, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then the whole editing aspect of it too. So this is something that I'm definitely going to consider and look into after talking to you about it. Especially like you mentioned, there's like different ways to reach out to your audience. So I think that would be a great way to attract more listeners. So that's awesome. Let's go into some entrepreneurship discussion. As an entrepreneur, what would you say like were some of the challenges you dealt with when you first started your blogging journey? And I know you started during COVID 2020. I'm sure there were some challenges, but what were some of the main challenges that you dealt with around that time?
When I first started in 2020, I think it was mostly just trying to figure out what I wanted to offer. I was offering just anything I knew how to do, which I think was a great thing for me to do, honestly, because it exposed me to a lot of different services that I found that I hated doing and found that I loved doing. And from there, I could kind of decide what I wanted to actually offer and start not offering the things I didn't want to do. So I think like starting broad was good, but it took me a little bit too long to narrow down. I was doing all the things for 4 years, and that was honestly way too long. I just didn't want to pull the trigger to rebrand and do all that and all the expense that comes with that too. So I would say just my challenge was just the bravery to niche down my services.
And I feel like for any time you start a business or start anything for yourself, it does require obviously taking some risks. It requires bravery. And, the advice that I always see or what has worked for me, just get your foot in the door and then just kind of figure it out, right? I thought I would do my podcasting a certain way. I was only doing audio podcasting and I'm like, okay, I'll wait 4 or 5 years to start doing video podcast episodes or even have guests on my podcast. I started doing that my second year. You just figure it out as you go, especially when you talk to people and figure out what your interests are, what your audience or like your customers, your clients like. Figure it out as you go instead of just figuring it out at the beginning. Where do you see the future of blogging heading?
I know there's a lot of wariness with blogging right now with AI and search. Um, and I know that people are kind of hesitant to keep producing content because it's like, what's the point? AI is just going to give them the answer, and people are copying and pasting AI, so it's not even worth it. And I have heard all those discussions. I also had those fears when AI first launched, whenever that was. But the thing that I always remind myself is that AI is pulling information from content on the internet. Like it literally needs us to create content to provide answers. And search engines are not going to penalize us for giving AI that information. So if you see, I know you've seen like AI overviews at the top of Google search results, it's also citing its sources for like where it's pulling that information from. And that's an opportunity for you to get at the top of search engines without being the number one organic search result. The organic search results are being pushed down the page, but if your content is on page 7, AI can still pull from that. And then suddenly you're on page 1. So it's actually a huge opportunity for us to create high quality content and get even more visibility to it. It just can't be that like fluffy crap content that AI
Yeah.
can give. It needs to be more in depth, more personable with like your unique experience and your opinions and your thoughts, expertise. It needs to be more kind of in that lane versus just trying to crank out content.
I did not know that. And of course, there's pros and cons to AI. I was very hesitant in using AI at the beginning because I feel like authenticity, especially in the podcast space, is very important, but it is a great tool to have. And I feel like when it comes to like my Instagram captions, just to get some inspiration, I'll use AI just to get the ideas going. So I feel like you can use it as a tool to inspire you. You don't want to use all of it. That's something that we need to be mindful of in this day and age, but it's also a great tool to have to help you gather ideas and feel inspired. What do you think what are some of the common mistakes that bloggers make and like how to avoid these mistakes?
I am only saying this because I also made this mistake, but not knowing SEO. I don't think that you can really survive in the blogging world without knowing SEO at this point, especially with AI. There's just new strategies coming out all the time, it seems like, and you need to have that strategic background to help clients actually get traffic from search engines now. It's not just about writing a really good article and posting it and hoping for the best. You need to have that background of SEO. And now with optimizing for AI too, like, that's a really big piece of it too that clients just don't really understand and they don't really care to, which is kind of where bloggers come in, and that's our job is to understand what it takes to get featured in AI results and also in search engines.
Yeah, there's definitely this paradigm shift now with having AI in place, but I think any content creator, I think you'd be crazy not to use SEO because now after I found out about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was missing out on this. And it really does help. And there's so many resources out there to help you attract more listeners and more clients. So, how would you define success for your business or define success in the blogging industry?
For my business, I love when I see I love when I get results for my clients and they're really happy with it, where they're like, it's just a relief to know that it's taken care of. Or I can show them that I got their blog from page 5 to page 2, or I helped increase the amount of traffic that they're getting to their website. Like, that is my main goal. And that's always puts a smile on my face when I can see that happening for them. So I guess that's kind of a success for my business and also for in the blogging space. I would say those things I uh I really love seeing.
Yeah, that's great. And I can tell you're really passionate and you really enjoy doing blogging. What kind of advice would you give someone who wants to start a blogging business? What would they start off with? Like where would they go? What would they need? Like the resources that they need? Just like the fundamentals of starting a blogging business.
That SEO course that I mentioned, SEO on Tap, is a great place to start from the strategy perspective. And then I would just say start your own blog and start writing for yourself and see just like the process and how it all works and what you need to do, what goes into it, because that will help you create blog packages for clients. You know that, like, do you want to offer the SEO strategy? Do you want to offer the blog writing? Do you want to offer the publishing? Do you want to offer the analytics? And kind of start to piece all those together. You can see how much time it takes you to do all of that, which will help with your pricing. So I think just like doing it for yourself and seeing just how it goes. I also use my blog as kind of my portfolio. So it's like I have written every single article on there. Like, I've never accepted a guest post because I am a blogger and that is my blog. So I use it as an example of my writing style, but of course I can portray that I can write in their voice as well. So that's kind of, yeah, that's what I would say to that.
That's really, really good advice. But now I want to ask you advice just in general. Like if you could time travel and give advice to your 10-year-old younger self, what would you say? And it could be about entrepreneurship, it could be about anything.
I would tell my younger self is that things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to work out, and mistakes will be made, but it will all be fine. Things will work out as they're meant to be. And I feel like I even need that reminder for myself sometimes now. So I would definitely tell myself that at a younger age. So maybe I'm sure things would be the same, but with less anxiety.
Yeah, I think especially when you start your journey, whatever you're doing, you're following your passions, whatever it may be. I sometimes feel like we take things too seriously and we get caught up in our heads and we start feeling really anxious. The whole point of it is to just have fun and just learn as you go and enjoy what you're doing because if you're going to enjoy what you're doing, you're just going to get better at it, right? And you'll be able to accept more opportunities that way. So I think that's great, great advice. Have fun, do your best, and just be open to learning. So that's great. Where can my listeners find more information about you?
I have my website is mavenmadecopy.com, and then I'm also on Instagram at mavenmadecopy. I would love to connect with any of you. If you want to send me a DM and ask me any questions about blogging or SEO, I am happy to have a conversation.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I will definitely be reaching out to you. May have some SEO questions. Like as we were talking, I'm like, I have some questions for this girl, but no, that would be great. We really appreciate that. But yeah, that's it for today's episode of Sonia Space. Thank you, Eden, for joining us today and sharing your insight on the world of blogging. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it valuable. I will also be providing more details about Eden under the episode description. Until then, see you next time.